Welcome to my world. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, yes, they are, and they need replaced already. You know, it's good. All right, we're going to pray, and then we will get into fellowship. Do we have any announcements first? Hold on. Casey? Announcements? Okay.
It's a slow week.
Yeah, men's retreat is coming up.
Yeah, that thing.
All right. All right, Lord, we thank you for tonight. Thank you that you are one with us, and we are one with you. And you have made us united together for your glory and your kingdom. And so we just, again today, just say yes to all that you have for us and all that you are. I bless everyone in this room with a spirit of wisdom and revelation and the knowledge of you, that we might know you better tonight, and that we might leave full of your spirit, full of your life. And we just thank you that you're already here, and we already have all those things, but we know it, that we would know it in our deepest parts, that you are with us. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so Hebrews 12:2 was the verse that I had kind of been sitting on for like a month or so before we put it up on the board, and then when I had said it, oh my, when we were putting it up, I'm like, yeah, this is resonating. And the part that's just been sticking out to me is for the joy set before him. And I had been sitting with that and sitting with that. For the joy set before you, what is the joy set before you? Like what could bring him joy at that moment of greatest agony? Like what was it that made him endure that? And I mean, I think we all have come to that revelation. Like we all understand, like we were the joy set before him, but what does that even mean? Like how could we be the joy? Like, so I was just asking him, just meditating, and John 17:20, I kind of came into my spirit, and it says, "My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one, Father, just as you're in me and I am in you. May they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one." And I was just kind of sitting on that and going, his whole goal was to make us one. Like that was the purpose, was to reunite us because we had been separated. And so this was giving him joy, unity, fellowship together. And so I was like, all right, Lord, how does that affect me? And he said, we have this treasure in jars of clay. You have a treasure in jars of clay. And I'm like, and that's in 2 Corinthians 4:7, but we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. And so I started searching out what the treasure in jars of clay was. And, just researching, like treasure is like a storehouse or, where precious things are kept. And, a jar is a vessel or a container, something made. And clay is, from the earth, from dust or dirt. And so what are the jars of clay? Well, we are. I'm really warm. It's toasty up here in the sun. So this is us. We are the treasure. We are the jars of clay. So then what is the treasure? It says we have this treasure in jars of clay. So what is the treasure? There's something that we're holding, right? We hold a treasure. And that caught me. This is, I was talking about it back in, I think, December, about how we carry the glory of God, the DNA of God, the life of God inside of us. And we have this we're carrying this treasure. And 2 Corinthians 4:6 says, "For God who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' made his light shine in our hearts." And if we walk in this light, then we have fellowship with one another, is 1 John 1:7. And so I was just looking at all these places where there was light or something like on the inside of us. And this is just me talking about a journey. This is the journey that the Lord has taken me on. Like, he just took me through these verses, and this has been like where he's had me, is just like going through and looking at what is on the inside of me, and what has he placed there, and then what does he want to come up out of me. And so I had this encounter with the Lord where he was wanting to show me these old treasures that I had. He was open up this treasure box, and inside, at first was a snake, and that was like the snake was guarding the treasure, and the snake was fear. And he told me that fear swallows up fellowship. Fear swallows up friendships. Fear swallows up relationships, and it will like divide and separate you from the treasure. And he said, fear is a breaker of fellowship, and fellowship is my gift. And we have this great treasure that the enemy wants to steal from us. And so I was thinking about, how, like, just jumping back to how the Lord wants to deposit treasure, or how he wants to give us treasure, and he wants us to see the treasure, but not to store up like earthly treasure, but to store up heavenly treasure. And so I was like, thinking about Matthew 6:19, which is, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Okay, so what can moth and rust destroy? Just participation awards are awarded tonight. Okay, fabrics. Yeah, what else? Okay, rust. Yeah. What decays? What can be destroyed here on this earth? Everything. Yeah. Our bodies, even food, clothing, homes, car, like everything that we have. Money can be destroyed, right? Okay. What can't be destroyed? So if we are storing up treasure in heaven, not on earth, what is that? What cannot be destroyed? And that hit me, because it's saying we have this treasure in jars of clay. Jars of clay can be destroyed, right? We can be destroyed. So how do we value the thing that is inside of us? The spirit and the life. Okay, so moving on back to the story, I was looking at. Okay, so I'm looking at these relationships that this snake has swallowed, and I'm like, how did this happen? And he showed how I had put more value in protecting and guarding the relationships than protecting and guarding the treasure. So I was there are several seasons of my life where the Lord had taken me into deeper relationship with him, and it had caused offense and had pushed people away, and it had separated us. And I was afraid that they would steal from me what God was giving to me, or they would convince me of what was what God was showing me. They would be able to convince me otherwise. And so then I would put up walls and guards so that we couldn't even talk about it. It was this protection so that I could do what I wanted and it wouldn't hurt me if they were offended. And so I saw the Lord scooping these people out of the snake, this fear, and he was asking me to look at them. And when I looked at them, I could see, like when the fear was gone, I could see the good things that they had given me, like the good treasure that was in the relationships with them. These things that I, at the time in my, like they were so valuable and I would have traded everything for them. Like just to have that relationship, to have that connection. And in the seasons that they were like fruitful and full of life. And the enemy wanted to steal the fruit of that. And I was seeing how it had really then put walls between me and other people, and even sharing what God was saying or sharing the things that were in my heart because I didn't want to lose that treasure. I wanted to guard the treasure. But if we have treasure in us, and this is the joy that Jesus has, and he wants us to be one, then this treasure is not mine. Like anything he gives is not mine, and anything I have is not mine. So then everything I have is mine. It is yours. It is his, because we are together with him one. So what can the enemy steal from us, or what can people steal from us even, if none of it is ours? And I realized how much I was afraid of relationships and people because I was guarding the secret place with me and Jesus, but nobody else could get there. And he's like, hey, wait, I have given you so much on this earth. He said, fellowship is my gift. Well, what is fellowship? And you can open to Acts 2:42. Acts 2:42, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Okay, so according to this, I would say this is true fellowship. What are the characteristics of it? Just what do you see in there?
It says breaking of bread.
Okay.
The eating.
Well.
Eating together, eating a meal together.
Okay, yeah.
Surrender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had what they needed, yeah.
Prayer.
Okay, prayer. Together. Yeah. Generous. Yeah, sharing with each other. Yeah, worship, sacrifice. Yeah, this was communion, sharing in life. Fellowship here literally means partnership. Partnership in the Spirit. It means community. So I thought it was interesting that it says breaking bread. They broke bread, prayer. Then they ate together. They broke bread in their homes and they ate together. What's the difference? Isn't breaking bread and eating like the same thing?
They're referring to communion when it says break bread?
Potentially, it could be. What does that mean? Huh? Breaking the word. So when you look up bread here, to break apart, breaking is to break apart and distribute. And then bread means to the supply, the manna. It's the gift of Jesus. It's a revelation of him. So they're breaking apart the revelation of Jesus and giving it to each other. Like this, it is communion, but it's also communion. So then what is the fruit of fellowship? In Acts 2:42. Love, yeah. Okay, fear of the Lord. I'm saying it for you guys out there. Fellowship. Unity. Okay. So what are some of the, just plain simple things in there that it says? What are defined fruit here?
Fruits of,
Signs and wonders. Yeah.
it's like fruit's a good thing.
Yeah.
So signs and wonders. I think the whole sold property and possessions to give to anyone, that's
It's kind of big that they
that's huge.
sell things. Yeah. Nobody was lacking anything. So
There's no lack.
they had everything they needed, huh? Glad and sincere hearts. Isn't that fun when there's relationships involved? Aren't relationships hard and you're just cranky and mad at each other all the time? I mean,
Says they have favor with people.
favor with people. Okay, so fellowship creates favor. Oh, I'm in. Let's go. What else was a fruit of it? There's one more at the bottom. Oh, everything in common too. They shared it. Yeah, they grew. Yeah. And they were seeing salvations. They're having people added to the kingdom. Okay.
So name that list again.
Yeah. So
we named them off, but
yeah. So glad and sincere hearts,
okay.
lacking nothing, or all their needs are met. Favor from all people.
Yeah.
Added new believers to the kingdom daily.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, those were the ones that I wrote, but you guys had a lot of really good ones too. So Jesus' prayer in John 17 came true through this fellowship. My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. And they were one, and they were seeing that all these people who didn't believe yet. Jesus was saying there's treasure in not just, us here as believers, but in all people, even the ones who haven't believed yet. So, all right, so he told me fear is a breaker of fellowship. So what are some ways that fear would break fellowship? We'll go there. How does fear...
The opposite of all this.
Huh? Yeah, isolation. That's good. Yeah, suspicion. Big one.
Greed.
Distrust.
Yeah, selfishness or greed.
Fight and flight.
Yeah,
People run
greed.
isolation, I guess.
How else does fear manifest? Anger. Yeah. Jealousy. Control. Manipulation. Judging. Shaming. Blaming. Just to name a few. Okay. So what are the benefits of fear? How does it benefit us? No, honestly, it makes you feel safe. Yeah.
There's a little bit of good fear.
Yeah.
It keeps us from doing something stupid.
Yeah, but let's just talk about, okay, sometimes you just want it as a blanket and a covering, you know? You just want it to protect you, right? Keep you safe. So you can stay nice and cozy. Yeah. Keep nice and warm. Yeah. Warm inside your isolated little house. It comforts you. How about it makes you feel good, feel better about yourself? How about that one? Like pride, elevation. Yeah. Those are fun. Yeah, it makes you feel in control. Yeah. No. So I guess those are the ways we use that in relationship. So what can we did you know that Jesus feared? He had a pretty major fear. I feel like growing up, I wasn't told that. Like I thought Jesus just, he was perfect. He wasn't afraid. But in Luke 22, Jesus is facing death, all right? And so Luke 22, 39 to 46. Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. Upon reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down, and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Let not my will, but yours be done." An angel from heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." Okay, so immediately, like the idea of him asking, like I looked up anguish because it was like, what is anguish? And it literally is great fear or terror. It's the fear of death, anxiety, the feeling an athlete has before a really big contest. Okay, so this is Jesus' moment of great fear, and what he does is he takes his friends with him. Okay, he knows that he is about to break fellowship with them. And he's like, "I'm not breaking it until the very last second. You're coming with me, And that's like him going, "I'm afraid." See, I think when we are afraid, we want to isolate, hide, go away, run away from people. But he grabbed his friends and he brought them close. He brought them up the mountain to pray with him because he needed them in that hour. And he's afraid. It actually says that it says they fell asleep because they were so, they were in anguish, or they were in torment, like thinking about losing him. They were exhausted from sorrow. They fell asleep because they heard his agony and his pain, and they were exhausted from the sorrow of it. And he's like, "Why are you sleeping? Get up and pray." So you don't even know, I'm about to die, y'all, and you're sleeping. Who's in more anguish here? Who's more sorrowful? Anyway, so he wanted to remain in fellowship as long as possible, and he did and he still wasn't breaking fellowship, but he was. Can you imagine how they felt when he just was gone? Like how that brokenness affected them, like that broken relationship, that separation would have been devastating. Think about when you have lost someone, a close person in your life that you bonded with, connected with. They're closer than a brother. They're your bud, your pals, and then they're gone. Everybody experienced this. I mean, I think on some point, at some level, and we make these connections, these bonds with people, and then when they're broken, then it leaves these empty spaces. And just thinking about Jesus being, like, when he laid down his life, it was so that we could have restored fellowship with him, with others. And in Luke 22:19, it says, he took bread, gave thanks and broke it and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." And then in the same way, after the supper, he took the cup, saying, "This is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." The cup here is like the allotted portion. He's like, "Here, I'm giving you my allotted portion. This is a new and fresh, like, this is the new development. Have my new covenant." And he gave us a new and better connection. So broken fellowship means we lose out on the fruit of true fellowship. And Jesus knew this, and so he gave us communion, which is union with him and union with others. It's the reuniting. And some of the things that can be broken off or lost because of broken fellowship are the same things that we gain in true fellowship. So the glad and sincere hearts, the lacking nothing or needs being met, favor from all people, and adding new believers. These can all be like the loss of, like, we can lose those things when we break fellowship with people. And so we, looking at each other, we see true fellowship. We can be united in Christ, in each other, but in that brokenness, you all know that feeling. And so we're gonna do a little bit of we're gonna go into some. We're gonna break bread tonight, okay? And I'm gonna give some good time to sitting with Jesus and talking about any broken fellowship, because he wants to take our brokenness and he wants to restore the good things, the good fellowship. I have papers here. I also have bread and juice. And so when we break bread in communion, often we're like cleansing from sin and receiving healing, and that is true. But he also uses it to restore relationships. And so in this activation, time, I just want you to take some bread, take a hunk of it, okay? I got a nice loaf, and there's more if you don't. We're just gonna take a hunk of bread, and we're just gonna put it before the Lord and say, what is broken? What are some broken relationships in my life? Where has there been separation? And then we're going to look and ask him for what was the good gift that he gave us through them. What was the good stuff that we got out of the relationship? And then his good stuff, his spirit, his life that he gave us through them. And then I just want you to take it and to eat it and drink in thinking of that relationship and just thanking him for the good part that is that part of the body. Because think about your body. If your body is broken, if your hand is broken, you've lost a piece. We want to reconnect it tonight. We're going to see healing in our hearts and our body. And then we're going to declare the restoration of these specific things, the glad and sincere hearts. And I want you to pray it, release that over them as well. Because broken relationships break hearts, but Jesus restored hearts. And so he wants to give us glad and sincere hearts. So you want that. You're asking for that. But I also want you to be asking for that for them, even if it's really hard, because these are the things that are promised in Christ. He wants us to have. that our needs would be met. He meets all of our needs, but if there's brokenness, that's can be a lack. Anyway, all these things. So I'm going to give you, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to just do that. And then if you get through your list, spend time with the Lord. And then we have one more thing that we're going to do.